Hello, you are welcome to a lecture on glandular epithelium. I am Dr. Aidoo with the Department of Anatomy and Cell Biology. I'm glad to have you. We would like to go through this topic gradually, okay, and this is also based on our knowledge in epithelium, which has been covered already. So, as a short recap, you would appreciate and remember that epithelium, and for that matter epithelial tissues, are one of the basic tissues out of the four, and they either cover or line surfaces. So once they cover, we call them covering, and once they line, we call them lining. Now in this lecture we are going to see how this same epithelium can form glands. So glandular epithelium is the tissue that makes up the secretory portions of glands. The function of glandular epithelium is for secretion, and secretions from glands could be in the form of hormones or enzymes. Okay, even sweat is also a type of secretion. Okay, oil from sebum on the skin is a type of secretion. Mucus in the respiratory tract when you get an infection, okay, where you have to blow your nose with a tissue, that phlegm like thick fluid structure that comes from your nostrils or even your throat is mucus. Then also milk is also an example. So groupings of cells which are specialized for secretion are termed as glands. Secretion is the process by which small molecules can be taken up, okay, into the cell, and then they are taken through a series of biosynthesis and transformed into a more complex product. Okay, a very good example is the thyroid gland, right? So when we get to that point, we will cross the bridge. Now the gland could be exocrine or endocrine, okay, and this means that if it's exocrine, it's able to secrete through ducts, and if it's endocrine, it secretes into the blood. So this is the outstanding difference between endocrine and then exocrine glands. One has a duct which connects the secretory portion to the surface, and the other does not. What are some of the examples of exocrine glands? We could have lacrimal or tear gland. You have cried one way or the other before you were exercising your lacrimal glands. Sweat glands, when you are under pressure, you want to write a quiz or do some exercise, you sweat. Okay, then sebaceous or oil glands, salivary glands, when there's food in the mouth, you secrete saliva. Then the liver also secretes, bile, and is stored. And then you also have the pancreas, okay, which also secretes its exocrine type of product. All right, so these are basic examples of exocrine glands. In as much as you have these examples, we also have that of the endocrine glands, which we will get to shortly. Now I want to take the opportunity to just introduce you to the development of these glands. As you can see, you have an epithelium that is developing a downward growth, okay, and as it keeps on growing, it forms an invagination, okay, and this invagination is made up of cells that can either form exocrine or endocrine. And you can see that for the exocrine, the duct is still connected to the epithelium, whilst for the endocrine you have blood vessels which have surrounded it. Okay, so these blood vessels come up as a result of angiogenesis and vasculogenesis, right, to pick up whatever secretion the gland will produce. So you will see that for the endocrine, there's no connection to the epithelium. The connection has been severed. So note this basic description. Then in this diagram too, you can see that exocrine gland has two portions: the secretory portion, which is in darker blue, and then a duct, which is the lighter part. So the secretory portions will secrete the substance and to pass through the duct, unlike the exocrine gland, where the secretions are put directly into the blood, and wherever the blood goes, the secretion will also go. So it's just like um, transporting substances from, let's say, the Ghana Water Company is producing and then filtering water to our homes. Okay, so whatever they put in the water at their base, be it chlorine or whatever, it will get into our homes. Okay, so that is the difference. For the endocrine glands, examples will be the pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid glands, adrenal glands, the pancreas, testes, and ovary. If you look at it carefully, you realize that the pancreas was um, uh, listed as one of the exocrine glands, and here too it has been listed as an endocrine gland. So look out for the time when pancreas secretes the endocrine type and then the exocrine type. So you have the exocrine pancreas and then what, endocrine pancreas. So you should note that as well. So the endocrine glands secrete hormones directly into the blood and not into duct. So if you are listening carefully, all that I'm emphasizing on is the difference. Okay, one that has its duct connected to the epithelium that produced it, which becomes exocrine, and the one that loses its connection. And the secretion can be in two forms, either a serous type or a mucous type. So we are talking of the type of produce or product that comes out of the secretory portion. If it is serous, then it is very thin and watery. Okay, it is protein rich. An example is the pancreas and then the parotid gland, which are classified as entirely or purely serous in nature. Then the mucous ones are quite thick. Okay, mucous secretion, they secrete mucus, okay, which is made up of mucins, hydrophilic glycoproteins, and in histology they don't pick much of the stain, unlike the serous, which picks a lot of stain and stains darker or deeper than the mucus. Okay, so note these differences: serous, dark staining; mucus, light staining, because it doesn't pick much of the stain. Then the glands can also be classified according to their shape and form. So if you look at this diagram, you have one that looks like a single tube, and then you also have a branched tubular. You also have a coiled tubular, and you also have the acina. You also have the branched acina. Okay, you can also have the compound types. The compound types mean that their ducts are branched as well into the secretory portion. So when you look at the diagram below, you see that the ducts are actually branching. The color of the duct is extending, okay, into another branch or another duct, which leads into a secretory portion. So that gives us the compound types. Okay, if the duct is not branching into any secretory portion, it stays as a simple type of gland. Again, in this diagram you can see that you have the acina and then alveolar and then the tube. Okay, the difficulty is how to differentiate between the acina and the alveolar. The acina has a spherical glandular portion. However, it's not as large as that of what, the alveolar. The alveolar is large and is larger and has a larger lumen as well compared to that of the acina. Then you have the simple tubular, and like I said, you can have them branching, okay, or not. You can also see that this is a coiled type of simple tubular type of gland. So it is called tubular, right? So try and then test yourself, see if you can label these pictures. Okay, when you label them, compare it to the previous ones and see whether you got them right. So you are supposed to know uh, what this first type is, and then this one that has three, you know, secretory portions connected to the same duct. And this is tubular, and it is called. How are you going to call it? This is expanded at the secretory portion, spherical in nature. Okay, and then the last one also has three portions all connected to the same duct. So the duct at this point has not branched. So how are you going to classify these five types of glands? Now the glands can also be classified according to how they secrete. Okay, so you can have a merocrine type of secretion, and the secretory granules within the cytoplasm will gather at the apical region, okay, sometimes by exocytosis, and then it goes to the surface. Example is the sweat gland, okay, and then you also have some salivary gland, okay, by exocytosis. The product is sent to the surface or where it is needed. So whenever you find sweat on your skin, especially the part of your arms, okay, and you should know that it is going through this type of secretion. Okay, so note that. Then we will also look at the apocrine type of secretion, where portions of the secretory unit itself pinches off and adds to the secretory product. Okay, so it adds to it, and together it is secreted. So once portions of the secretory portions or the glandular portions are pinched off and are contained in the product as well, we call that secretion an apocrine secretion. So you have this in the breast, lactating mammary glands, apocrine glands of the skin in the pubic and axilla. So we are talking of sweat glands that are located in the armpit and then the mons pubis areas. Okay, and they also have the ciliary or Mohs gland of the eyelid, also undergo this kind of secretion. Then the last part we will consider will be the holocrine secretion. The holocrine glands will secrete their entire glandular cells, okay, the secretory cells, together with the product. Okay, so you have sebaceous gland, which are associated with hair follicles, going through this process. Then you also have the meibomian gland, also located in the eyelid. Okay, meibomian is somebody's name, so it is the gland is named after the scientist who discovered it. So when you look at this, you have the fresh secretory cell. Now it is producing the substance, and then eventually it secretes the substance together with its entire secretory cell. Okay, so these are the three main um, types of secretion. So in summary, we look at the merocrine secretion, okay, where the product is secreted by exocytosis onto the surface. You have the apocrine type, where a portion of the secretory cell will be pinched off and added to the product, okay, and then sent to the target place. Then also the holocrine, where you have the entire secretory cell actually breaking down and adding to the product. So these are the three major ways by which you can classify glands according to their mode of secretion. Thank you very much, and I hope this helps. There will be a test on intercellular junctions in one of the videos that will come just after this lecture. So that is what is showing. You have a quiz to test yourself on intercellular junctions. Your quiz is to list 5 intercellular junctions. You do that quickly because the answers will be following, so that when the answers follow, you compare with what you have written to see whether you made any um, good choice. So these are the answers. So if you remember and you've watched the video on intercellular junction, which was a very short video, you would come across all that has been listed. Thank you very much, and see you some other time. Bye bye.